Greetings, hello, August Worldwide. It is so good to be back here. This is Saturday. We are at May 9th, and today is our Saturday live stream. The name here is Dave, and Dave Kassler. My call sign is KE0OG. And I've got lots of good questions for us to take a look at, and have had a lot of comments this morning. I'll try and try and stay up with the comments that are on the screen. It's kind of a big screen, so just looking across the screen, it looks like I'm looking across the room. News here, I'm recovering from the dental work. You can see a lovely little bruise right there. The tooth that was extracted was right above that, so I expect that to grow a little with time and eventually come down a little bit. It's kind of hidden by the beard, but not enough. Not enough. So, yeah, I started out, I had a crown that came out and went in to have that looked at, and there was a little bit of nastiness under the crown, and in the process of getting that out, they said the tooth wasn't savable, so they yanked it out. Boy, I'm getting too old for that kind of stuff. But usually doing okay. Let's see. With this new talk of stimulus pay, should I get the FTDX 101, the icom 7610, or a Lamborghini? Why not get them all? You heard about that kid in Salt Lake, who's 5 years old. He took off with the family car because his mother told him that she was not going to buy him a Lamborghini. So he took the family car to go to California to buy one with the $3 that he had saved up. He got stopped on the freeway. Fortunately, everything turned out okay, and apparently somebody gave him a ride in their Lamborghini, but that was an interesting one. It's been in the news recently. And Vincent is taking his general exam Saturday. Good luck to you. And let's see. Oh, yeah. I went to see my son in Boulder. According to my dad, who has one of his molars removed, he is painless. Well, this definitely was not painless, I'll tell you. You know, the hardest part of it, the thing that for me that's the most painful, is when they inject the painkiller. It's really... Flowers are out, but covered in snow. All melted now. Oh, good. That's good. South Texas... And let's see, April showers bring May snow showers, yes. Greetings from Greece. Hello there. Hope you're feeling a bit better. I am feeling a lot. 37 degrees Fahrenheit, wind gusting to 24, snow squalls. People here would wear masks. Yeah, I know. People seem to think it's their constitutional right to be idiots. And I guess it is. You know, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that citizens have to follow best practices. And that's what makes it a free country, because most people do follow best practices. But best practice right now is to wear a mask when you're going out, when you're in any kind of establishment, and so on. So just follow best practices. And you know, this business about people... idiots trying to get into grocery stores without a mask and then screaming obscenities at some poor teenager who's trying to just enforce what he or she's been told to do. Good grief, it's private property. The owners of the private property can set any rules they want for you to enter. So, here in our area, my county right now, we have had seven people infected with COVID, or 7 people who have COVID-19. 1 passed away. In the county north of us, where my wife and I are going to pick up some prescriptions here later, they've had 12 deaths up there. So it is definitely a presence on the western slope, but we are so sparsely populated out here. It's hard to say. Let's see. Greetings from Greece. Yes. About 10% here that won't wear a mask. Yeah. Seem to be healing pretty well. Yes, it is. Wisdom tooth an Army dentist and a little chisel. Yes, I can remember Air Force dental work. Temperature in Mission, Texas is 30 degrees cooler than normal. Wow. Wow. Little Richard died today. Yes. So sad. Summer weather arrived in the mountains in British Columbia. Good. I hope you're getting rain. I understand it's been kind of dry. Super chat should be on. If you have pulled the chat screen out from the main page for watching this, the super chat goes away. If you're watching the chat like I am, right in the page where it appears, the super chat should be there. Just became a patron. Oh, good. Good. Thank you, Bill, for becoming a patron. Numbers go up if you have a hospital in your town. Yeah, I know. Was in the Air Force, but on an Army post. I was in the Air Force back 76 to 80, long time ago. All right, this is a question about GMRS. He is KC3NNI. His name is Jack, and he is new to this, got his license last summer. Was wondering if my tech license is enough for me to operate on GMRS. No. GMRS is an entirely separate service. It has nothing to do with ham radio. Do you still need to apply for a GMRS license to use GMRS? Yes. I have the Anytone 878 handheld, great radio, and it has FRS and GMRS frequencies in it. You have a license to transmit in the ham band, and that's it. Now, with regard to FRS, the 878 UV may be physically capable of transmitting on those frequencies, but it is not a legal radio for FRS. On FRS, the antenna must be permanently attached to the radio, and it's, I think, like 2 watts, maybe a little bit less, that you're allowed to transmit, whereas the 878 UV will go up to, I don't know, 8 or 10 watts or something like that. So it is not an approved radio for FRS. GMRS has slightly more liberal specifications, but again, this radio is made for a world market where rules are different in different places. So use your 878 on the ham frequencies and enjoy them very much. You can get little FRS radios for very inexpensive. They don't require a license. And, you know, some of the Chinese manufacturers have actually thrown in a couple FRS radios along with things they've had me review. I've been turning down reviews recently. I think I've done enough reviews for now. And oddly enough, the reviews are not popular videos. So I would suggest you use your ham license on ham frequencies. If you need to use GMRS, get a GMRS radio and double check the requirements for that. I'm not an expert on that. Let's see, we're getting I forgot to mention, let's look at the ad here. Do I have audio? Yes, I do. Okay, these are 3 people whose questions were garbled. Paul Gonzalez, KT4AS. Tim, he sent KGULB, I think he meant K6ULB, and Scott, K0WAV. Your questions were garbled. Please resubmit those. I'm sorry, I don't know why it does it. Edinburgh, okay, Austin is somewhat better. North Pole would be perfect. Wow, you must like cold. What's an 80 meter to 10 meter all mode radio for 500 or under? There is, the closest would be the ASU FT450. Take a look at that. Here we are taking the ostrich approach, no testing, no cases. Yeah, FCC came out and said very clearly that that you can test in this situation. Some people have taken to doing tests outside. Others just have large spacing inside a large space like a gymnasium. Others are finding ways to do it remotely. The FCC came out and said definitely you can do it remotely, but didn't give any real further guidance than that. So, Navy dentist, and he was great. Good. Had a filling on an aircraft carrier. Yeah, I had my wisdom teeth extracted when I was just home from my Mormon mission to the Philippines. And, oh, the blood was just draining down here. It looked green and purple and all that sort of thing. Watched recently, Acorn electrical grounding connectors are not good RF connectors. Acorn electrical. Yes, it can be true. They're designed for utility grounding. I would suggest that you, what I do is I take, like if you've got copper strap, use a hose clamp and clamp it to the ground rod. The Elenco DXSR8T is around 480. Oh, that's true. Okay, and the icom 718 is in that same $500 price range, too. What is the opinion on the TBJ? Sounds like a PBJ1 tri-bander antenna. I have no idea. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it. Yeah, the GMRS license costs money. Look at there are GMRS repeaters, by the way. Look at the Yaesu A57D. 64 here with some rain clouds. At VE6 would be BC or Alberta, I think. What is the difference between the Palomar common mode choke and their noise filter, which goes on the back of the transceiver? I really honestly don't know. I'm sorry. Is there a 20-meter Yagi with a small footprint? My yard is not huge. MFJ, well, it would be either Cushcraft or High Gain, does make a shortened antenna. They put some capacity hats out at the end of them so that they can be quite a bit shorter. So take a look at that. It's usually advertised in every QST, so go ahead, take a look at that. Need a few days of dry weather. Oh, yes. I'm about to get my IC7300. Haven't been able to find any helpful videos in selecting coax. RG8X is fine. I put on, if you go to dcasler.com/reference, you'll see a listing there for a 100-foot length of RG8X coax with connectors on each end. Now, I'm personally the kind of guy who likes to use bulk coax and then put on my own connectors. But for the reference station, I have decided to make it simpler and just give cables that can be used without cutting them. Now, what you may want to do, since we're going to be doing some grounding and so on, is get two cables, like a 100-foot cable to go out to your antenna and then a 25-foot cable or whatever to go from the lightning arrestor up into your shack and to the radio itself. This is from Ishmael Samuel J7SIMS. Do you know about the IC2350H dual band radio and also the Kenwood TMD 710A K-type? And he sends me the links. I looked them up. They're interesting radios. Built-in duplexer. Okay, this is a duplexer right here. I'll show you what it looks like. You put one radio here that is 2 meters / 70 centimeter, and then put a 2 meter antenna here and a 70 centimeter antenna here. The other way around. The other way around. Okay, and then what comes in here will be reflected to the correct antenna. Now, both of those radios that Ishmael mentioned are dual band radios, and you can transmit on one band while receiving on another at the same time. Okay, so you could be having a full duplex conversation with them. It has one of these built in. And so that's what it means when it says duplexer. You can be transmitting on 70 centimeters while still receiving on 2 meters. Okay. With the built-in duplexer, can you use it to make a crossband repeater? I think so. If an antenna, do you have a go-to supplier for the old bayonet style pilot light bulbs 1847? There is a radio store that advertises in electric radio, Fair Radio, I think it is, that has a lot of old parts. I've probably got one in my basement, but you're welcome to come over and paw through all of the stuff, because I don't know what all is down there. Any opinion on 6-meter beams for regional usage? Well, it depends entirely on whether the channel is open, or 6-meter beams if the band is open. 6-meter beams are compact. Don, thank you very much. Can't join chat but watching. Have shingles from left jawline to waist. Itches fiercely. Oh, my goodness. Don, I am so sorry for you. And good luck for your father there. Glad it's not COVID related. Oh, those shingles can be very painful. My father had them. They gets in the nerve and works its way to the surface. So it looks like just a little thing on your skin, but if you touch it, it goes all the way into whatever nerve that is. There is a medication for it. And there are, Valtrex is the antiviral for that. It's caused by the herpes virus, as are cold sores. And I get cold sores, and so I keep this Valtrex and acyclovir in my closet pharmacy for whenever they come. I hope that is able to help you. The shingles take too long to go away. Was having, let's see, if an antenna is installed, and yeah, the dental is better. Installed an attic for HF. Is the floor for the attic considered earth, or are you're 20 feet above the earth, pretty much, but it's still not. It's a compromised location. A compromised antenna is better than no antenna. Flagpole and 05 says, okay, flagpole antennas to cable. Ishmael, you're welcome. Text is laggy today, weird. Dave, the TBJ1 is a 2-meter. Oh, and that's Ed Fong. Okay. Yeah, there's a write-up in QST. He also spoke to our club using Zoom, and I wanted to order one of those, and he had run out of parts. Yeah, Fair Radio Sales has an online website that you can get. Hello from Iraq. You make a balun by wrapping a piece of PVC with coax. Does it add to the loss of power from the transceiver to the antenna? Just the extra length of coax. That's all. Okay. Oh, and, oh, shoot, I didn't get it. William Pietschman notes that the FCC has a new logo. And he sent it along. I printed it to the color printer that's in the other room, and they didn't go get it. They do have a new logo. It's somewhat simplified, and they do have an explanation for what the various things stand for. I guess we'll be seeing that more. Maybe I'll do a short video about that. Let's see. If you make a balun, but yeah, okay. Can't get the Ed Fong antenna. I'm sure for enough money he'd ship it, but he has all the instructions on how to do it. It's made from he wrote a QST article a while back, and this is the antenna that he made from that. How much distance would you have between a wire end-fed antenna and metal objects in the roof, such as the mast or metal chimney casing? At least a few feet. I don't think you'd have to go much more than that. Okay, this is from Marl Strawcutter, frequent contributor to questions. And this one actually got through to Ham Radio Answers. When installing the pen adapter board in your 7300, which is coming, I'd suggest you get a JIS screwdriver to remove and install the case screws. If the screws look like Phillips, but are really a variant known as Japan Industrial Standard. It is easy to mess up the threads if you use a Phillips driver. JIS screwdrivers are available from Amazon and eBay. And thank you very much for that tip. I shall get that screwdriver. Okay, this is from Dave NK7Z. Says, in my episode 73, you have some rather cool graphics. I often do presentations, would like to use some of them. Credit would be given with backlinks to your site. I have no presentation in mind at the moment, would like to add them. Do you offer the use of your graphics for use in presentations? Can you shoot me a note to use them? Dave, what I will do is go look them up. If it's graphics I made, I have no issue with sharing them. And what I'll do is I'll go look and put the graphics. I have all the files for the various Ask Dave videos still on the computer across various disk drives here. And I will find them and put them online so that people can use them. Okay, this is from ZL1VKJ, Draco. I am thinking of an inverted V. A problem I have is only one location behind the house, therefore the two elements will not be entirely clear of the house in one direction. Will this affect the antenna greatly? Rule number one in antennas is that everything affects everything. So there will be some effect, but you've got the high current part of the antenna up high, and I would think that that should work well for you. Give it a try. I think it should work. Let's see. Port Dover, Ontario. Hello. Let's see. What do you think of the... Oh, this is from Carl N8CDW. What do you think about the SteppIR antenna? Are they worth the money? Well, they are an expensive antenna. They are, they're sold as HF antennas, not just ham band, but HF antennas. And you can use them on any frequency, actually. And so they're trying to sell them to the military and people like that. There is a funny rule in the U.S. regarding federal procurements. The rule, and this is in the regulation, says that you have to give your best price to the government. You can't sell it to other people for less than what you sell it to the government. So that means if they want to sell these antennas to the government, they cannot charge hams less money than they would charge the government. And the government, of course, has lots and lots of paperwork, and so things tend to be rather expensive. That makes these antennas expensive. So, for example, the list price of the stuff that I got for that vertical antenna was $2,500. They kindly gave it to me for $1,000. They couldn't quite bring themselves to give me something for free to review, so we kind of split that a little bit there. I actually love the antenna. It works really well. One of the nice things it will do is go down on 80 meters. There's a loading coil at the bottom, and it's got switches in it, so it'll pick the right coil to load for that part of the 80 meter band. So it's a very capable antenna, first-class antenna. Brad Rich, who helped me install my Big IR vertical, has the big beam with those big circle thingies on it, and he loves it. He says he gets through every time. So they are expensive. If you are not price sensitive, it is something worth looking at. But if you are at all price sensitive, you'll choke at the price. They are the premium in antennas. Nice antennas. Should I zigzag each leg of an OCFD from the peak down to each eave, string each leg in concentric loops on eave or other? Spread it around, try and keep the different parts away from each other. You can kind of zigzag it. A reference power supply from, well, I have only one reference power supply, and that is the Samlex SEC1235M. If you are going to do HF at any point in your life, just go ahead and get the reference power supply. Otherwise, you can get something that's maybe a fewer things. How are you doing? We get my ham tech soon. Been helping me get started. Thanks for your videos. GMRS is number WRFD339 step 1. I have no idea what that is. You need a license for GMRS. You can get in trouble for using those if you don't have the right license. Ron Smith, thank you very, very much. And I appreciate that. It's the $10 on the Super Chat. Waiting on response from private jet pilot and a plane inquiry. Thank you. Just north of down Old Kansas City Muni Airport there. I've got an Ercoupe that I've sort of got my eye on. Also an old, these are vintage aircraft, but vintage aircraft can be had for in my price range, which isn't very much. There's Aeronca down in Texas that looks interesting. What is a good wire for counterpoise for HF vertical? Anything. Just use electrical wire. No problem. Speaker wire, bell wire, whatever. If I run an antenna along the entire length of my roof line with a pole in the center to form an inverted V, would the roof be my measurement above ground? No. Does the roof matter for the height above ground? Like I said, everything affects everything, but you're talking real ground or the slab if there's a slab in there. Not true unless those items are on a GSA contract. I think they are. I think they're trying to make more money by selling to the larger HF user community. There can be special bid prices to the government. I know the reason I mention that is because I worked for the part of IBM that worked for the federal government, and we ran into that issue from time to time. There'd be GSA contract, and then there'd be special bid prices. And it's complicated. The many specialized projects are not on the GS. That's good. Does the Microbit XX have an internal bandpass filter? I don't know. The radio actually works across all of HF. They've got some kind of input filtering. Note that it is a superhet and an analog one. It's not a software-defined radio. What would be the performance of a quarter wave vertical compared to an inverted V for 20 meters? About the same. If you can't get the inverted V up to where the apex is a half wavelength off the air, you're better off with the vertical in terms of DX. The wind survivability of the SteppIR beams leaves much to be desired. They need to make them stronger. Okay, I guess you're speaking from experience. Oh, GMRS ID. I really know nothing about GMRS. I'm sorry. This is from Plerre Lugosch Doesn't give a call sign. I've only used a straight key for CW, and that was a long time ago. As I get back into ham radio, would like to switch to an iambic paddle key. Just bought a bencher, which is a very nice set of paddles. Would like to practice with the iambic key before going on the air, and you certainly should. I see plenty of practice oscillators, but they are for straight keys. That is true. Do I need to purchase a keyer just for practicing? Yes, if that's what you're just going to do with it. Most new transceivers have built-in keyers, but I only have an old icom which does not. I plan on buying a new transceiver, but in the meantime, how can I practice with my new bencher? Are there separate keyers available? Yes, there are. Go to an MFJ company called Vectronics, and they have little keyers kits that you can build for a very small amount of money. Vectronics with a V, Victor Echo, Vectronics, Vectronics, Vectronics. And find yourself one of the little kits there. They go together in, an hour or two, and then you've got a nice little keyer. And by the way, that keyer will work with your current icom. All right, this next one's from Mathew, Jenne, KD2HKB. He inquires about the availability of the videos on memory sticks, on thumb drives. They are available if you will go to Dcastler. I'm going to just have to combine all these references. dcastler.com/support, and you will find the order list for the general videos, the tech videos, and the extra videos. The tech are $29.99, postpaid anywhere in the United States. $39.99 for the general, postpaid anywhere in the U.S., and $49.99 for the extra, postpaid anywhere in the U.S. And that's the only authorized way to get them. I hold a copyright on my YouTube videos. They are not open sourced, and so it's a violation of the copyright to download and distribute my videos any other way. There's a simple reason for that. One, if you steal my videos, then I don't get the advertising revenue for it, and I need that so that I can go out and purchase all these neat things that I can review and look at and make into the reference station and so on. So you are welcome to get the videos on memory sticks that way, and then you can use those to show to your club and or use in classes and so on, but you should not be downloading the videos directly. That's against the YouTube copyright policies. Kind of a sad thing to talk about, copyright policies, eh? Copyright is weird. Okay. Can I make a 2-meter dipole using the wires of a phone charger? I guess. What would be the safe wattage for HF in an attic antenna for being on the floor below 100 watts or less? I would think you might want to stay with 100 watts. Let's see. More Sereno accommodates paddles and a great product kit. And Harry, thank you very much for your super chat. I appreciate that very much. Any thoughts on the new extra test? I want to take it before question mark. Well, the current videos are for the ones that will be for July 1st. It will take me a while to update the videos. They have added some new material and subtracted some of the old material. I think the videos will probably add the new material and leave the old material largely intact unless they drop an area altogether. They're going to be probably doing stuff on software-defined radios and maybe a little bit more on the microwave bands. And there will be something in there, I'm sure, on the new VLF bands, the super low, well, not super low, very low frequency bands that we have that are below the broadcast band. So that's what I'm guessing. I'll start looking at that in detail when I get the manual, which, as somebody mentioned, can be pre-ordered from ARRL. Yeah, Vectronics makes good kits. Is there a difference between a loop and a halo? Yes, I think so, but I'm not sure. Look in the antenna book. DJA says, if I'm putting up a disc cone mostly for receiving in 2 meters, is it acceptable to ground the mast and coax to its own grounding rod, or must it be to the house? GES. You would ground the mast and the coax to your station ground rod. Now that should be bonded to your utility ground rod, but I think you'll get lower noise if you have your own dedicated station ground. So that's what I would do there. Are you considering a headset mic for reference station for hands-free general operating? I am. I just need to look at that a little bit more carefully to do that. UK STARS entry-level license exams online. It is not happening in the US yet. The problem with online exams is proctoring. In other words, somebody administering the test to watch that there is no cheating, or that there are no robots taking the exam. And a lot of people haven't really grappled with that, but the Alaska VEC has been doing remote tests for years. And, you know, this will all get sorted out. Like I said, people are sometimes giving exams in like a very large setting or outdoors where they can maintain social distancing at the same time have plenty of room to properly administer the exams. And I think we'll see more of that as it starts to get a little warmer here, at least in the western United States. It's certainly not warm in the eastern United States right now. And with the popularity of the FT8 and FT4, is there a video you did in the past showing the comparison of dB signal reports and the traditional S units for single sideband and CW? I have not. What is your opinion on the Messi and Paolini coax? It's a very nice coax. I actually have a run of it from my vertical over to the lightning arresters. Brad Rich put that in, and he is very much a convert for their cable. Putting on the coax connector for that was a little bit of fun. They have their own proprietary connectors for that, as does, by the way, Times Microwave. Times Microwave cables I found are very easy to put together. I put one on here and did a video about it that I use for my indoor ADS-B antenna, which is right up there. Put it on the Times Microwave LMR 400. Bought the Kindle, the Radio Today Guide to ICOM 7300 that I showed in the last live stream. That's this video or book right here. And I didn't know it was on Kindle. That's good. That makes it a lot easier to get hold of. It is very helpful if you've got a new 7300. It helps you kind of get past a lot of the initial hurdles. And to John Cressy, congratulations on passing your test. Messi and Paolini, yes. Let's see. California clubs are doing online tests in USA now. Very good. You are right. 48 degrees Fahrenheit in Laurel, Maryland today. That's the kind of weather we were having 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is from Flemming Con, OZ7 Bravo Tango. Okay, Dave, can you maybe tell me, is there a VLF dipmeter on the market? Now, the dipmeter used to be called the grid dipmeter because that's what it was used for with tube equipment. It is a device that has a little coil on it, and you put it near other coils, and the two coils interact, and it can find the resonance of that and do a lot of other things. It used to be a very common tool in ham shacks. You hardly hear of it today. I don't have one. I would like to have one because I'd like to test the traps on these antennas that I have. Maybe I'll have to get one. Is there one that can go down to that low range? Yes, I'm sure. But I cannot point you at one. Maybe somebody online can. I've sent PDF to the website. Okay, thank you. May want to consider Bob Heil's Pro 7 headset for the reference station. They're great. They're expensive. They're great. I'll take a look at that. I just bought an aviation headset for my own. And you follow the general rule in aviation. You figure out what something ought to cost in ham radio, and then you add a zero. I spent $800 on that headset. Good grief. It's a nice one, you know. I hope to use it for several years. But, man, the prices, the Bose were up in the $1,000 range. This one is also noise canceling and so on. And I have wondered if I could use it for this too, but that certainly wouldn't be the reference one. The Bob Heil headsets have an extremely good reputation, and I think I shall probably take that suggestion and see what I can do with that. Took exams a few days ago. 3 VEs watching you through your webcam the whole time. Very good. Do you dip the grid and then peak the plate? I don't remember. Go check your tube amplifier and see what it was. I know you would dip one and then keep moving that dip up. Yes, MFJ does carry the Messiaen Palini coax. How do you get your grid square location within the Georgia grid? Well, Georgia won't fit in its own grid. This is what's called the Maidenhead grid system. Maidenhead. It's an obscure way of converting geographic coordinates into a series of letters and numbers. My grid square is DM68CG. And my little station clock, which has a GPS receiver on there, can calculate the grid square for me. There are grid square calculators available for your iPhone or Android. They're also available online. Google grid square converter or something like that, and you can punch in your location and get your grid square. Dip the plate. Okay, there we go. Love my Heil headset. Good. What type of electrical grease should be used when assembling an antenna and connecting aluminum sections together? Is it necessary? The old butternut antennas were so named because they came with a grease they called It's Not Butter. It was actually a grease with copper flakes in it, copper dust. In the thing that would be a conductive grease. You're looking for a conductive grease. They might be able to help you at Ace Hardware, and then again, they might not. I once said Ace Hardware prides itself on helping you find things, and I went in once looking for the kind of electrical tape that sticks to itself, and they didn't know what I was talking about, so I led him to it. I knew where it was in the store. Check with the antenna manufacturer and see what they recommend. There are conductive greases that you can put in there that once you tighten that thing down, gets all the air out, and that will make that a good solid connection for years to come. Your MFJ 239 will do traps and coils. Okay. Can I make a 2-meter dipole? Well, okay, we saw that. Virgin Islands, hello. Just see, peek the grid and dip the plate. Online testing is happening now. See the blog section of hamstudy.org for more info. Good. I hope that becomes very, very... Yeah, Dave Clark headsets were one I looked at. My ground school instructor suggested the Bose, the brand I got, whose name escapes me at the moment, and then the Dave Clark, and said the Dave Clark are just legend. Can I use any length ladder line for doublet antenna? Yes, you can. They sell a conductive grease at DX Engineering. Good source. Okay, this is from Verne Parmenter K6PAK. I just discovered your YouTube blog recently. I've been inactive in the bands for 20 years. Original license back in '68. My topic is that I have an old Sugarbaker 200 amp. It's a Heath kit. Expecting it to work well after 20 years might be optimistic. I think you're right. Paul, thank you very much for the super chat. I don't have much presently wired up that allows something like a Variac to ease into turning it on. And it's 220 anyway. Can I just imagine those electrolytics being leaky? Okay, there is what's called the light bulb technique. Wire your radio in series with a light bulb, a little light bulb socket, and progressively put bigger and bigger and bigger light bulbs in it. Start out with like a little 7.5 or 10 watt light bulb. And I'm not talking LED, I'm talking incandescent light bulbs, okay? And if you can get them. And gradually work your way up over quite a period of time till you get to like 100 watt. And at that point, if you leave it on for several hours, you probably will reform those electrolytics. It's a standard technique that has been used for years. I used it to bring my Collins 75A4 back up. By the way, that's for sale if anybody wants it. So that is what I would try. Sources for capacitors, go back to that Fairweather radio. Also, I would strongly suggest you go to a website called ermag.com. That's Echo Romeo Mike Alpha Golf.com. That's for Electric Radio Magazine. They focus exclusively on old radios, with lots of articles on restoration and so on. Okay. They sell conductive grease. Dip coils that you can use with the 259, 269. That's cool. Greetings from Belarus. Nice to see you. Or Belarus. Not sure how you would pronounce that exactly. Locally, the English would be Belarus. What's a good starter 2-meter mobile radio on a fixed income? Well, Yaesu doesn't sell the one I've got anymore. That wasn't that much. You can get, well, there's some of the Chinese, like the BTECs, Bravo-Tech, or just get yourself a handheld and use that. But I think you want a mobile radio. Try the BTEC, Bravo-Tango Echo Charlie Hotel, and take a look at those, search for those. Have you ever tried to use electrician's putty instead of coaxial? No. I'll have to look for it. MFJ 201 dipmeter range is 1.5 to 250 megahertz, so won't do VLF. I'll have to take a look at that. Home Depot has ideal conductive grease by the wire nuts. Oh, that means next to the wire nuts. Carrie Johnson, thank you very much. QRP Projects in Germany also has a dipmeter kit, but I can't get the listing right now. The poor man's Variac, yes, the light bulb thing. I suggest you dip into your amplifier and replace all the, or dig into the amplifier, replace all the electrolytics. Belarus, thank you. Belarus. FT2980R, maybe. Oh, if it's just 2 meters, yes, they do sell. I was looking at dual band. Belarus. In Lima, Ohio. BTEC will do. Okay. Belarus, White Russia. Okay, thank you for that. I learned something today. Okay, we talked to that. Let's see if we can't get some more of these. Peter ZS1 Papa Charlie, I think that's South Africa. Came across your video regarding your clock update and programming the chip to connect a software bug. Google Arduino bootloader. The chip in an Arduino is programmed with a bootloader so that it can be... Okay, yeah, I came across something for using my little Arduino to program the chip while it is still directly in the clock. And I plan to try that today or tomorrow. And what's the worst I can do? I'll be out $6 for a new one. This is from Nathan Fix KD2TTN. Please help looking for a video on the icom 7300 with an amplifier showing the how-tos and the dangers. Oh, I just did that video. Nathan, my most recent regular video talked about connecting an amplifier to the 7300. So check that out. Okay. It says, very nice words there. John KJ6SEA. I did not see a PM on YouTube. PM. So I asked about purchasing the 4-line display for the clock. I got that from Adafruit. ADAFruit.com. And I put up, I think I put up on my website the link to that. Let's see if I did. Let's go to the screen. Okay, and we'll go to tcastler.com. Oh, I did not. I'll put that up. The link to that forewarn. It's at Adafruit, which is adafruit.com. And they've got all kinds of weird little things here. But they have 4-line displays. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, well. It's in there somewhere. I'll find it and put it up on my website here with all these other things that are here. So we can go back to live streaming with the so-called normal view. I hope there was audio on that. Yes, there was. Okay. Dave's electrician putty in large blocks at Home Depot. What about conductive grease used for automotive O2? That may be good. Lime, Ohio. There's a place up in Wyoming called Dubois. And normally that'd be Dubois. But they call it Dubois with the accent on the first syllable. Dubois. And there's a place in Colorado that reads Buena Vista, but they won't do that. They call it Buena Vista. Buena Vista. Okay. Looking for antenna design to get an 80-meter single sideband in a homeowners association. Any suggestions? Well, I've got a friend who strings an 80-meter antenna around his house. It's about 6 inches off of the edge of the house, and that works for him. Okay. Just trying to use an N-Fed and inverted L. Yeah, what do you think about the future of Hamfest? They'll come back. Good grief. They'll come back. In the 1918 pandemic, which stretched into 1919, people thought it was the end of the world, but it came back. A lot of people passed away. It was a lot worse than this pandemic. And they tried a lot of the same kinds of things to, for social distancing. Didn't call it that back then. The Hamfest will come back. Don, thank you very much, and thank you. Dave Harbach Electronics has caps for the Heathkit amps. Okay, so check that out. Was purchasing the clock, GPS, and 4-line display. I got this from Hans. Nearly all LCD modules use the HD4470 compatible. If it has 16-pin header, they're also standard pinout. Yeah, and I had the same experience. It just worked. I didn't have to do anything special. SSB phone in that frequency range is actually 75 meters. That is true. Okay, this is, that's the 4-line display. I'm going to fold this one up so that I do something about it afterwards. This is from Rob Adams. Hello from north of 49. Call sign VE6YXE. Extra weight. He's looking for an antenna for a 2-story row townhome property. Well, that MFJ 1622 is about the only thing I can think of. But if you have a townhome, you may very well have a little balcony out there on the front of it. Although I don't know how well they do that up in Canada because of the cold in the winter. But if they do, you can set a mag loop out there or a buddy pole or something like that. Is the MFJ 1622 worth the trouble? Yeah, it's narrow band. It'll only cover part of the band. I just understand that. And you have to tune it by moving the stinger in and out a little bit. I was purchasing the clock. Let's see. Seems SSB. Avoid all LED because they often have a different driver. Oh, yes. From Roger Vargo. Hello, Roger. All Electronics in Van Nuys, California. A good source for all sorts of arcane components. Allelectronics.com. If Noah can be in the Ark for 40 days, we can make it. Yeah. Over 200 is from the chat. 209, yes. Okay. Oh, we're running out of time and not quite running out of questions. And this one is from Roger. Roger, N6YDT, a high school buddy of mine. We spent a lot of time together in high school, and after that, my dad had a cabin out in the desert. We were out there all the time. Neither of us were hams at that point, but we took our motorcycles out there and just had a grand time. Says, good live stream yesterday. Have I mentioned your video presence reminds me a lot in a good way of Andy Rooney on 60 Minutes. That is the first time I've heard that one. I've been accused of being Mr. Rogers. I've had an NOVNA for about 6 months. Takes some getting used to. He mentions a group that has a lot of users. It's on groups.io. It's nanovna-users, all lowercase. And said you'll need to order a bunch of SMA to whatever adapters so you can connect it to the real world. And mentions you can get a set on Amazon. I will look for that, Roger. I've got somebody else who mentioned to me some things to get for that before I really try and get into using it. Have you any experience with the POFUNG UV-82 CCR handheld? I do not. He says he likes it, except it has a push-to-talk switch. If you push the top of it, you get one frequency. You push the bottom, you get the other. Because they'll list 2 frequencies on the display, and you can go direct to the top or the bottom. I've got, and I don't know who made it, but I got a handheld from some Chinese manufacturer about that and did a video. I do not like that feature either, because I wanted to smash the push-to-talk button in the middle of the button. Well, it doesn't do anything then. You've got to push either the top or the bottom. I guess that's something you can get used to. I've seen a few messages on different forums that Bridgecom isn't answering their phone or replying to email. They borderline spam me with email messages. Yeah, I get one a day from them too. but I haven't heard anything of them since April 12th. It's several young people who do most of the work there. I don't know, maybe they got sick, but you would think they would put something on their website. Thank you, Roger, for that. Let's see. 200 in chat, but only 44 likes. There's not 200 in chat. There's $64 in chat. 200 concurrent viewers. Let's see. ZL1 REY sends greetings. And 73 is from New Zealand. Hello. Avoid I2C types, the pain. Okay, which is most of them, if not all of these. Let's see. Says Hans. Good. Well, I'm going to save these for the Thursday stream, and I'm going to say goodbye for now. We've had a wonderful time on here. Good to hear from my old high school buddy Roger, and from lots of you who I recognize. Live chat, Super Chat is still open. And we will get back together on Thursday night. In the meantime, I am feeling better, and I'll try to go back to a video a day, or at least every other day, as we go through this. Trying to get back to flying too. I had one flying lesson on Tuesday, but we found out that in the time all the aircraft was just sitting there during the pandemic, the radios had stopped working, so it's in having its radios repaired. I am thinking of, I've got a couple aircraft I've got my eye on. One is an Ercoupe, ERCOUPE, and the other is, the name will come to me at some point. The Ercoupe is unique. The only foot pedal is a brake. It's got an interesting way of connecting things up in there so they don't have to use rudder pedals. And this is a very old design. It's a post-war design. And it is in a price range I can just maybe afford, but I would have to add ADSB to it and figure out how to get it from California to here. That would be interesting. So we'll see. Well, thank you all very much. Let me take one last look at the questions here. All right. Yeah, that would be very odd that they are doing that. Well, thank you all very much. It's been a great time. Please check at dcasler.com/support for different ways that you can support the channel. We will, we'll talk soon. So if nothing else, I'll do a video on this thing tomorrow and show what it does. And we'll be talking to you soon. So until we next meet, 73.